We're going to talk about Judge Tammy Kemp and the black woman conspiracy to destroy the black man in America. A lot of these videos here you can't really see because they're owned by, she spoke to Roland Martin, but I can't show his video because he might file a strike against me. But I will at least show the the video of the judge hugging. I think the trial itself could have been faked. Even if the trial was not fake, this is what black women are doing now. And I'm so saddened by this. White supremacists, there's a white supremacist Christian group in America and Europe, there's one in America and Europe, that actually believes that Lilith, Adam, I don't believe in the Adam and Eve, I believe in the female goddess in the Genesis 1, female God, male God, Genesis 1, equality, the first creation. But for the sake of this video, the Adam and Eve story in Genesis 2, there are some Christians who said that Adam had a first wife called Lilith, and that Lilith did not do like what she was supposed to or whatever, and that she got cursed to be a black woman witch, the head of a like demonic thing, and she would come back, and it's believed that by some Christian groups, and some just say no, she went to hell, or she went and became any kind of woman, but I just pray that that ain't the case, because this don't look right what's going on here in America with black women. They've just sold black men out. It started in 1960s, the late 60s, after the Civil Rights Movement. One mistake that was made in the Civil Rights Movement was that they didn't consider what would happen if there was too much integration. So they didn't consider what could happen to the woman. The man, he might can get jobs in white-owned places and different things, but they didn't think what a black woman could potentially do with that power that she would get over black men. And this is unacceptable. What you're seeing, what you saw was unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. I think the trial was faked. But even if it wasn't, fake, I believe that, I had another video I made. I believe that Amber Geiger and both of Jean knew each other, and this is all a big drug deal situation where she owed him, he owed her drug money, and I'm not gonna get into that. Let's stick with the black women situation in America and this monster right here, this monster, Judge Tammy Kemp, this monster in charge, to hug that woman. She did something that not even a white judge has ever done. No judge in the history of this country has ever hugged a defendant in public. There have been judges hug the family members. They usually do it outside the court or in another room or something, or they have judges' chambers also. But you will see lawyers hug their client when they're on the way to prison, or if they found guilty or not guilty. But that does not happen, and it cannot happen. Either the trial was fake, or it was partially real, like what I believe. It was partially real, and everything is a witch, some kind of sacrificial system they got going on here. And they got the perfect person, an American black woman, not African. Because it's not a racist video against black women. It's saying that black American women have sold out black men. To sit here and hug this monster right here, Amber Geiger. Amber Geiger's a monster. She's not a real person. She's a vicious alien creature. She's probably in the witches circle. It's an inner witches circle. And I believe that they picked a woman judge for this case. And woman to woman, she don't mind hugging her, because if that was a man, she would have never came anywhere near him. I don't care if he was a black man. She was not going to hug him. That's how black women are. Enough is enough. That's why I want to go back to segregation. It's the only option. It's not going to work. It isn't working. When you see stupid things like this judge doing what she did 2 weeks ago, enough is enough. And speaking of black women, how they've sold us out, there's 2.3 million prisoners. 2.3 million prisoners in the United States. 1.1 million black men in prison, 1 million white men in prison, 100,000 white women in prison, 30,000 black women. Yes, you heard right, about 30 to 40,000 black women in prison, and the rest are on welfare and different other things. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Segregation would actually help us get better. And the powers that be is not going to let us go back to segregation, because everything would crumble and collapse. Everything would crumble and collapse. For those that don't realize, in the 1800s, when they was hanging black male slaves and beating on them, some may say that was just letting the slave know his place. No, those were secret rituals. You see, white Americans, when they came here, had that strong British accent. They even dumped slaves. Some of them dumped slaves in many islands on the way here. Some of the British dumped slaves. They went to Trinidad, they dumped slaves. Guess what accent all those slaves still have? A strong British accent. Why don't white Americans have those accents? Because they sacrificed black male slaves to demons that Native Americans had here. They had demons. Yes, you heard it right. Native Indians had in Canada and here, and some parts of South America, they had demonic creatures that they prayed to their gods, and they sacrificed their own kids to keep those things out. Okay, you want us to stay out and give us certain children, give us fresh newborns. Well, these demons told these white men, give us your black male slaves and we'll give you 10,000 demons, or underworld spirits. When those underworld spirits took form, they don't sound like the Europeans do in Britain. They have a robotic accent, the same robot accent that whites have today in America. It's a different situation. I'm getting all off the subject, but just for those that don't know it, once time went on, 1900s and all that get here, they couldn't have black males 100% free with white people, considering they sacrificed us. So they had to figure out a scheme. And that scheme is, maybe we can integrate if it'll work, but we have to have a person. We have to have a person who's willing to sign over the black people's bodies. Somebody that's a powerful figure. And they brought in Martin Luther King. And his job was to sell our souls, basically, to the New World Order with his promise of a dream. When he realized what he was doing was wrong and they saw him starting to back out, they brought Jesse Jackson in as the backup guy to finish the transaction. And once that transaction was finished, we are owned by Jesse Jackson. We're no longer true 1950s and 60s black people. We are, how can I say it? He is, we're like puppets on the string for him, so to speak, or he's our handler. Not every black person has those genes, but nearly 75% of us are Jesse Jackson's black people. We're owned by him, and the white people, they love it. They think it's a joke. Look at these guys, criminals and all this. You started seeing in the 70s the name changes of the typical Robert, Thomas, black men names. And then you start seeing these vile demon names, Chandra and Shamika and all these crappy ass shitty names. Where did it come from? White people know where it comes from. Those are underworld names. They agreed to use our bodies. So a transaction was made behind the closed doors. And that's what's going on in the black community. And when that transaction took place, that took power away from black men. And you start seeing prisons going up and up in the late 70s. Another thing you saw was white serial killers going crazy, because they had two things going on. They wanted underworld spirits to completely take over white people when they were only at 30-40% underworld spirits when 1900 got here. They wanted to completely take over all those white bodies, and they did. And the result was these vile demonic spirits that lived mostly in white female bodies, and it caused these serial killers to go crazy and start killing them. Something similar happened to us black people, but they put the black women in charge of us, and we see where that got us. Now it's going too far. A judge going out here hugging somebody that's clearly not human, clearly don't act human at least. This is not an anti-white video. It's just saying that Amber Geiger is not human. She don't behave like one. Something's clearly wrong with her. And I'm just telling you, this woman is evil. She looks like, if you look at her right here, she looks like a crying orangutan. Where I'm circling right here, a wild, all she has to do, if she wanted to, she could just growl with her teeth. And we can see what she is. The shape of her face is indicative of alien. You know, they have all kinds of secret stuff, laboratories they don't want us to know about. And that could be the thing. She's her handler. That judge might be her handler. I don't know, but I know something is terribly wrong with this case. Terribly wrong. I think the case was half fake. It was half fake. Some say it's completely fake. I think both of them really did die, and I think that he just knew her. He knew her because they were doing drugs for the Dallas PD. But it's got to stop. Black women's got to help us. And they're not going to help us. Chandra just had a child named Shamika, and these names are getting weird. LaDon Tavis. For those that don't know the lettering of these newer names of our black children, LaDavius. Do you know what that LA part mean? Los Angel. Demon, demon this, Dion, D this. When you put DE in front of a name, Andre, like DeAndre, that's Demon Andre. Stop it. You have no idea what you're doing. So every time you call on DeAndre's name, you're invoking evil in him, and that's got to stop. Rather than Natasha, there's a ghetto name called Latasha. So we have to put a stop to that. Get segregation again. Go back and change all these names. Clean up the communities. Have a cleansing. No meat for like 5 years. Vegan. Go back to vegan diet because we're eating pork. Black people can't eat pork. We don't particularly know this secret, but you cannot eat pork. It does not work. Your genes are not compatible with pork. A white person and a lot of people in the Middle East and Asians, especially Asians, they can eat pork and laugh at you. It's not going to hurt that gene pool. It'll destroy us. It'll make us ugly or less attractive. The main thing is, in a black woman, it'll make her hair fall out. Don't be fooled by her hair. If she don't have very long hair, I wear my hair like typical, the waves, the shortcut, 1 inch. It'll take me 1 year to grow this much hair. I'm not lying. I can grow that hair in 1 year. Okay, I can grow hair longer than my mother can. Most black males can. Because black women have a curse in them when it comes to pork and fried chicken. If you eat those two meals, your hair starts falling out. Stop eating it. But they're not going to stop because we say stop. We have to go back to segregation and get some power over them again. It's going to involve some corporal punishment and different things, but enough is enough. Black women have just sold us out. They're vicious monsters now. It's not an anti-black woman video because African women don't behave like this. When they came to black women and said, hey, when a white man said, be a police officer, what did she do? She jumped right at it. In 1960s, she said, no, let black men be the police and figure out what's going on in the department and, and such, in the military, whatever. That's not her place. That's why East Indians from India, in America, they come in dead last. In those prison figures I gave you, the 2.3 million, out of that, it's like 200 Indians in prison. Yes, out of 2 million prisoners, you might have 200 of them in our prison system. They're dead last. How can they be dead last? I studied them for years. And they're dead last because they don't have these crime rates. They have a female. They have something we don't have. They have the female, you see. We don't have a female. We had a female. We had a sister. She's gone now. This has got to stop. This evil right here, this has got to stop. That evil right there, absolutely not. That's got to stop. We can't have a sister hugging a demonic person, then hug everybody. Before this, I believe one of the bailiffs stroked the hair, was stroking her hair. I'm not sure, but this right here is sad. Of course, people are going to say, that was we need in this world. You're a judge on the bench. Just do your job. I made this video in response to some videos that she made and explained what she did. I called the trial half fake and staged, but now I see more and more that it was, a real trial, and that this judge is just a devil. She's a witch, a monster. She's a monster, and black women in America enough is enough. I'm gonna tell you a little true story about my own situation. 14 years old, back in 1996. Back in 1996, August 1996, I ran away from home. In Hillsborough County, Tampa, Florida, we have what you call runaway centers. Runaway centers. I went to a runaway center in real life. I, just want to get along with my parents because they're Jehovah's Witnesses, and I hate that religion. I couldn't wait to get 18 and get out of that house. Being whipped and beaten and abused and, stuff like that. But I went to a runaway center, and there it was, a black woman. You know what she said? What's your parents' phone number? A bunch of white kids playing and having fun, and she just letting them play and stuff. The policy, of course, is they got to call your parents first and make sure you're a real human and make sure you're not some wanted suspect or criminal. And that was like the policy back in the conservative 90s. Because in the 90s, you can spank kids. But anyway, she goes, let me call your parents. Just like that. My parents came up there, put on that Jehovah's Witness garbage smile, and I was back to my parents' house in a matter of an hour and a half. When there was a bunch of white runaway kids who got to live in that facility, I was dying to get out of that evil house and get true doctrine, Christ, the typical Christian, doctrine, at least, even no religion. Just get out of that house. And that black monster woman said, oh, you're not being abused. I can look at you and tell you're not being abused. The typical black to black speech. While a bunch of white kids are playing in a runaway center and having fun. Some of them did have problems. Yeah, true. Drug addict parents and such. But if I felt that I was abused, she should have got me out of that house, especially another black kid. She allowed my mother at the time to fool her that, yeah, he just doesn't want to follow our religious teachings. And who wants to follow that garbage? Who wants to follow it? Remember, I was a kid, didn't do any drugs. I wasn't a perfect kid, but no drugs, no lying and stealing and cheating. But I was being abused in a household. Here comes the black woman. You're not being abused. Check off, go home. Now it's different. When you say you're being abused, you have to stay to the place until a week or a month or something. And they send someone out to interview the parents. And now, if it is overly abused, they arrest the parent and stuff. Now, I'm not extreme liberal when it comes to that. I'm just saying, though, if it's enough abuse, take the kid in. That black woman used her power to block me because she thought it was a black thing. But black women are going too far. They've had a chance to raise children, and it's just, it has to stop. It has to stop. Enough is enough. I can't take this anymore. I watched an interview with Judge Tammy Kemp, and she gave an interview with, for those that don't know, with Roland Martin here. I won't play it, but I'll play some of the audio of it.
In this case, I talked with all of the John family. I hugged all of the John family, and we
okay, that's okay. You can hug the John family.
Talked about their son and what a great individual he was. With Thomas Geiger, and she looked really hurt. So I just said to her, Mr. John has forgiven you. Forgive yourself so you can live a purposeful.
I guess it means the brother.
Life. And then she asked me some questions. She asked me if I thought her life could have purpose after this. She asked me if I thought God could forgive her.
Okay, you're not a priest. That's not your place. Black women have to know when things are not their place. Had that been Judge Joe Brown, he would have been like, that ain't my place. But he could have even quoted a Bible scripture from the bench and let her know, good luck to you, if he felt bad for her, which he wouldn't have. He would have stayed out of that.
And I said yes to both questions.
She don't have the right to say yes to both questions. This woman is more worse. Let me show you here. This woman is more worse than this man right here. She's more worse than this man right here. This man right here made history. Okay? He did something.
The law enforcement community prepares to bury three of Baton Rouge, Louisiana's finest.
This man right here is considered to be like the biggest coon or sellout that there is. And I can bet you my life, he wouldn't have got off that judge's bench and did what that judge did. Because even as a black man,
and I did that in this.
as a black man, he has his limits also. He was known as a Uncle Tom or a coon or whatever, and he has his limits. He's not going to do that. He knows that's going too far. Even if he liked it, Amber Geiger, even if he felt like she did nothing wrong, he was not going to go down and hug and do all that stuff. I believe this woman is a witch, and that's why I made this video. I've heard her speak on the Tamron Hall TV show. I've heard her speak, and it didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense what she said.
You gave her the Bible. I know that there's an organization right now. They have filed, it's an atheist organization, and they have filed a formal complaint saying it was unethical for you to hand her that Bible.
Yeah, I'm not an atheist myself, but I have to agree she had no business really doing that. That's not her place. Now let's flash forward here, where she tries to cover up and say that the officer in charge, or the bailiff, whatever, is stroking her hair.
So Ms. Geiger had been found guilty of murder, and I had held her bond insufficient, which means she was not free to move about. She was in the custody. Couldn't send her to the jail to be free. You know anything about the jail? You gotta search every part of a person, including this, and all manner of, and they do that to every female. So
That's a lie. I've been to jail.
if you come to the Dallas County Jail,
This is why we do this show. This moment went viral. This one.
So you have here two witches, high level witches. Tamron Hall is also an evil witch. She's a demonic creature just like her. And this woman judge is about 10 years older than her and got more experience in life than she does. But I'm guessing one's about 48, one's 58. But you can clearly see the evil. Now, thankfully, this judge, who's a black woman also.
Do you think the judge that was sitting on the bench behavior towards Amber Geiger in the whole Dallas police shooting situation was appropriate? And then give me the Texas sport.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I think what she did was grossly inappropriate.
I stop right there. And I don't like this judge either, but even she know, wait a minute. No. She's probably liberal, pro-women, pro-chicken head hairstyles and greasy and all that. And I'm mad with her too because she's gorgeous. She's beautiful. And to grow that ignorant ghetto hairstyle, let your hair grow. She eats pork chops. But I got to I'm clapping for what Lynn Toller said about this monster, this witch, Judge Tammy Kemp. It's coming out more. Something's not right. She was endorsed by the police association. What are they endorsing her for? For what? They put more black women police chiefs. There's a black women police chiefs now everywhere. Police, lieutenant, police chief, assistant chief, they're all over the place. While black male crime continues to go up. While the Robert and Thomas, for those that don't like those names, there's the African names. African names are all gone. For those that believe in the Israelite thing, the Israelite names are all gone. You got to change your name to that now. Because you're going to be born with some hardcore ghetto name that your ghetto mother gave you. Almost every ghetto name was given by a black woman. It wasn't given by a black man. He's probably in prison. Why ain't she in prison? This judge is a monster. She showed why black women in America have sold us black men out. And it has to stop. And the military has to step in and have segregation. Everything is out of control. Crime rate is high. There's a school shooting every other month. They arrest a kid every single day, threatening to shoot up his school. In Florida alone, every day, either Orlando or Tampa or Jacksonville, a kid does it. And that's going to start happening to the black educated boys. They're going to start losing it eventually, being in that influence, demonic influence, a lot of the bad video games and stuff going on, and just the unclean spirits in a lot of the quote interracial schools, integrated schools where there's a lot of white people. That's going to make you more upset and want to shoot up a building. It's just the way it is. Look at the serial killers. That started happening to us. First, it was all white guys. Serial killers were 100% all white guys. Then it slowly started being all black and white together. They did their first DNA test. Believe this or not, the first DNA test conviction in America was a black person. But they created DNA to catch white serial killers. After that, they started using it for its intended purpose, to catch white serial killers. Then, just like gun crimes and robberies in the early 70s, it started getting more worse in black males. I couldn't figure out why. And I did my research, and it looked like we lost our female motherhood. We lost that. It's something in them is saying police, firefighter, judge, ignorance, being ignorant, being loud, being rude, eating what they want. If you was to go and look at all the vegans right now, I'm sure there's a lot of black women vegans now, but if you was to look at all the black women, all the vegans, I see a black male right here. Almost all the vegans, there's one, I thought I might have hit one black woman. Almost all the vegans are white, with a couple black or mixed race people. Vegans, you'll never see a black woman vegan because nobody can tell her what she can eat. While her hair is falling out because her genes can't process pork and certain meats that she don't know about. And you can't stop her. And the government loves it, and they come at them because she breeds us. She's breeding us. She ate cockroach food. Chicken, for those that don't know, is a dirty hybrid bird. It's filthy. It's even worse than pork in some cases. Turkey is also unsuitable. Sadly, I have problems with it over the years, and I have to stop eating it. But pork is completely out. No, I do not eat pork. I get tempted here and there to eat chicken wings when I'm places, and I have to stop myself. But I never eat pork. The only meat that's compatible with us is beef. It's the only meat that is compatible with our bodies. And we can't stop this monster black woman in America, not Africa, in America. Because if you do a survey with African women, they're going to tell you, wait, I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out and be a police officer when I come to America. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a doctor, veterinarian or something. They don't want to go rush to be a police, be in the military. In fact, when most African women come here, they don't run to join the military when they become a citizen. They go to school to learn how to be something, important, a doctor or something. Whereas black women, they run straight for that military, straight for that police job. Construction. Thank God that there are some limits to this monster of a black woman. Thank God she ain't a white woman deer hunter. A white woman race car driver will really be monsters. That's why white boys are going crazy now. These white girl race car drivers, deer hunters, and acting stupid. It's happening to us. And get ready for black males to shoot up schools. Not the hood rats, not the thugs. The educated ones with the glasses on, who sounds like he's going to Harvard. Get ready for that kind of guy to shoot up a school, because those kind of things are going to happen based on the previous crime rates of white guys. And we started catching the things that they did, depending on if we had enough female in our lives or not. When you lose that female, everything goes crazy. And I know it's going to happen. That's why I'm begging for segregation, and I'm begging for segregation now. Please spread this message about black women. This is not a racist or video, because I'm a black man speaking to my own about their behavior, and this has got to stop. It has got to stop. It's not going to get any better. We can criticize these judges. We can criticize all we want. We can stand up, Black Panthers, whoever. I'm not involved with any of those organizations, but whoever can see the truth and handwritings on the wall that it's going to get worse. It's never going to get better. If someone is going this far, doing things that even white people don't do, that's unacceptable. Yes, you've never seen a white person, even a white judge, even if she agreed or disagreed with the verdict, hug the defendant. Even if a white judge agreed and liked it, Timothy McVeigh, liked it what he did, that judge will never go down there and hug him. Or liked it a white guy who committed a racist, murderous act for his white clan, whatever, that judge ain't going to go down there and do that. That judge is going to stay away from that. And a white judge will never hug a black murderer. You know what I'm saying? So what is this judge doing? This judge is being a black American woman. They've already knocked us down. Now they gave us the knockout punch. Now we got the black men and or women also who agree we have to get up, get this message out, fight for segregation. It's not going to work. If you saw the news, another shooting happened. Ironically, a black woman got shot. I hope that's a wake-up call. That rarely happens. They rarely ever shoot a black woman in her own home, or rarely ever shoot. Cops rarely ever kill black women, period. But I hope that's a wake-up call to black women to get on board and start doing what's right and looking after your sons so they don't become monsters. And, the crime rate continues to go up. Thanks for watching.